This is Boxing Talk 8576. I want to talk about one of the most exciting fighters, of all times, in my opinion, blood, guts, warrior, Arturo Thunder Gotti. Um, he was 40, he had 40 wins, 31 KOs, 9 losses, and 5 came back knockout. He had a 60% KO ratio, so he was not considered a knockout artist. Arturo Gotti, I'm not personally like that high on Arturo Gotti as far as one of the all-time greats, but he was an important fighter, one of the most important fighters, and one of the most exciting fighters of the last 20 years, 20 to 25 years. Um, he had a lot of wars in his career. He actually started off more as a slugger type, and then he became kind of like towards the end of his career, he boxed more. He got with Buddy McGirt, and Buddy McGirt had him using his jab and moving around the ring, using boxing technique. Um, he had his notable fights were against Adrian Manfredi. Uh, Adrian Manfredi was a pretty good fighter back in the day. Andrew May, Manfredi, he had a fight where he fought Floyd Mayweather. He was one of those guys in that mix back in that day, in the lighter weight classes, lightweight and stuff like that. He fought Alvin Robinson twice. Those were some good fights between him and Alvin Robinson. Alvin Robinson is like one of the guys that people don't talk about, but Alvin Robinson was a pretty good fighter, man. Alvin Robinson, he was a pretty good technical fighter. His trainer was Lou Duva. Lou Duva had like a lot of good fighters. Pernell Whitaker, and what I'm saying, guys like that. He had some pretty good fighters. Meldrick Taylor, and I think Vander Holyfield. So Alvin Robinson, he was a pretty good fighter, but people don't talk about him. But I don't, it's kind of strange of what happened with Alvin Robinson. But I know he had those two victories against Arturo Gotti. Both of them was really good fights. Both of them, were really really good fights. I thought one of the fights, I think it was the first one or the second one, that these guys went at it. They were kind of like more like slugging more than boxing. Arturo Gotti, had Alvin Robinson fighting his fight. He had Alvin Robinson trading punches, and Arturo Gotti, that he does that best when you can get a guy that can trade with him because he can use his big punches, what I'm saying, his punch output and his strength and his knockout power is what wore guys down. Guys that he was able to bring into his world. Guys that really boxed like Floyd Mayweather. He fought Floyd Mayweather. He got destroyed in that fight. He got destroyed against Oscar De La Hoya. Guys like that came in there to box. He was not good fighting a boxer. He fought Mickey Ward 3 times. He won 2 and lost 1. He he fought Carlos Baldomir. Everybody know Carlos Baldomir. Zab Buda made Carlos Baldomir famous by, when Carlos Baldomir upset his Zab Buda to become the man at welterweight. He fought Alfonso Gomez. Alfonso Gomez from the Contender. That's why I know Alfonso Gomez from. I know him from the Contender. That's the first time I ever heard of him when he was on the Contender. Jesse James Leha. Jesse James Leha is a pretty good fighter. A pretty good lightweight back in the day. He was actually in that mix down there with Azuma Nelson, man, in that mix. And Pernell Whitaker, he back down up in there in that generation. But I like Arturo Gotti. Arturo Gotti, I would always like to look at his fights. He fought in Atlantic City a lot. I'm pretty sure Arturo Gotti made a lot of money in Atlantic City because New Jersey is New Jersey is right there. Um, he was a blood and guts warrior. He didn't win, in my opinion. He never beat a B fighter or A fighter. He beat a lot of C plus fighters. When he fought B fighters and A fighters, he didn't come through. He fought. When he fought people like, I think the close fighter he beat to a B fighter was Jesse James Leha. He did beat Jesse James way high, but he lost to like Oscar De La Hoya and Floyd Mayweather. You know, he lost to those type of guys, and he lost to a Carlos Baldomir. Carlos Baldomir was not a B fighter. He just beat Zab Judah. Zab Judah always dropping the ball, but you know, he was a good fighter. I give him props. He's in the Hall of Fame. A lot of people say, do he deserve to be in the Hall of Fame? I question did he deserve to be in the Hall of Fame, but you know, we had a discussion on the round table, and you know, uh, they were coming up with things and saying like that, like not Zab Judah, but the Toro Gotti. He did a lot for boxing, and not just the wins and losses. It was about all the other things that his persona, of being a blood and guts, and he brought that persona to the ring, and he delivered a lot on that. He won a lot of fights, in the last couple rounds, pulling it out, with that big punch he had. And so he delivered on that. He got fans exciting. He fought on HBO a lot. Jim Lampley, they loved Arturo Gotti. HBO, promoted Arturo Gotti to the T, or this blood and guts warrior. So yeah, he did a lot for boxing on that end. So in that, under that perception, yeah, he deserved to be in the Hall of Fame. He did bring a lot, to the game. He wasn't one of the greatest fighters though of all times, but he had an important role in the last 25 years. You know, so salute to Arturo Gotti, rest in peace. My favorite fights with Arturo Gotti is all three of the Mickey Ward fights, and the Alvin Robinson fights is good, but the Mickey Ward fights is just legendary. See, those the fights right there. When they fought the second and third time, those fights should have been on pay per view, man. Those two fights should have been on pay per view because those guys was a perfect match. It was like putting Manny Pacquiao and it was like putting Manny Pacquiao in the ring with Marquez. It's like putting Ali in the ring with Frazier. It's like those type of fighters, like fighters that are made to fight each other, are just meant to fight each other, and it's going to be a good fight no matter what. No matter how many times they fight, it's going to be a real good competitive fight. Those are the fights that's supposed to be on pay per view, but I don't want to go down that road. But yeah, my favorite fights is all the Mickey Ward fights. Just leave a comment below. Let me know what are your favorite Arturo Gotti fights. This is Boxing Talk 8576. I'm out.